Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to show you an upcoming update for the Random Starship add-on, and this is mainly to do with uh, a new, so let's just delete this cube. So this is mainly to do with the new way that the house modding works. It now has a repeat parameter, much like in random flows, random panels, and random loop extrude. So it should be named to smooth, not how smooth, and that will also change in the when the update hits. Okay, so another thing is that you can now use materials. You can choose between the right now three material preset, but I will add more to this in the coming updates in the future. So by default, the use material toggle is off, and you have to turn this on for to actually use this materials here. So ship mat 01 is if you can read the UI helper, that means it reads regular material with grunge effects only, and ship master 2 is material with hard panel texture, and ship master 3 is material with soft panel texture. So these are derivatives of the underscore or underscore hard and underscore soft materials in the random flow add-on. Okay, so Random Starship, and I also added a new preset just for the new changes for the smoothing. So what happens is from before the smoothing is processed of before the panel details, and the large and small wings are actually generated by the script. So right now the smoothing can happen after or will happen after those elements in the details are generated. But there's an option here where you can avoid smoothing the small wings entirely or just include them in the smoothing action. Okay, so let's try and generate a model. And to play around with the big shapes much faster, I'm going to use a much lower subdivision. It just lets me play around with the random seed quicker than actually or compared to using a much higher subdivision. And once I find the shape that I like, I can then increase the subdivision to generate the panel detail. Okay, let's go to plating and set this to pre random or base. Let's try base. Set edge cuts to 1. This will generate that much additional detail because of the randomly added edge loops in the hull section. And then we can go to wings. Probably just set this to 3, and also the wing count for the small is 3. Okay, now let's randomize. And go to settings and yes, use material. Be sure that it is on. And just increase the detail once you have the shape that you like. So in this case, this is subdivision level 2, and this is subdivision 3. You can still play around with the random seed, but only very slowly. Do not click on this, press and drag. That will slow down the operation. You can only do that safely do that in lower subdivision, like this. But if you are in a higher subdivision, do not press and drag because uh, it will process each of the random seed value and also go over the script and loop over the script for each of the seed value, and of course it might freeze Blender. So just watch out for that. So this is the result of the material. We're going to just probably use level 2, or yeah, let's use level 3, go to plating, and then set this to 4, maximum size, and you can still play around with the seed value, with the plating, and thickness. Okay, so let's just try the shape. Actually, let's play around with the mirror. Let's try no mirror in the z-axis. There we go. So maybe in the bump, let's see what it does. Okay. Oops. There we go. So let's just change the SRI for a better view. Okay. So the shader is this. We have the same texture that I'm using with the random flow shader. We have the of course the soft and the hard texture there. And this node group here is basically the uh, creates a random uh, gradation of black and white color on each of the panel islands. This is the RC seed, so random color seed, random color strength. And we have the AO, which of course provides the color in the valleys to actually accentuate the panel islands more. So if we reduce this to 0, you can see that there's no more AO. So I've compared the point in this node and this, and actually found out that AO works much better in this situation. And this is your AO intensity, and this is the strength, or this is the ambient occlusion original factor, and this is our strength based on the AO value. So ours is strength, and you can play around with the random seed. So this will just provide some variation of color or shade in the panel islands to make the, the color or the diffuse color much more interesting instead of just being flat. The disadvantage for this for now is that the shader doesn't respect symmetry, so the distribution of the color is asymmetrical. But for what it's supposed to do, and that is to just provide some, like I said, gradation to the panel islands, then it is actually very powerful in that regard. And this is what it looks like without those variations. Everything is just white, and we have shades of gray for some of the islands right now. So it looks more natural. Okay. So you also have the lights right here, which can increase the strength and the factor. The 5 and offset 20. If there's 5, I might edit this. It's not working correctly. So this will be fixed in the update. Factor is 0.5. It's not working. Yeah, it's not working. Okay. Something must have gone wrong inside the node. But going to be this is what's going to be in the next update. So you can just go ahead and get some more design without having to think about sh- uh, the texture of the model afterwards. So yeah, if you already have a materials for this for the results of this add-on, then good. But if you're just starting with Blender and you want like really quick results, you can use for your 3D scene, then this is a great update for you. Expand, make it thinner. The x-axis. There we go. And I guess this is good. Let's try add more detail and see the result of the shader. So it's all about perspective. Don't worry about if you're generating twisted geometry. Don't worry about those. This is all about perspective. And this most of this design, I think, will be rendered far away in a way. So at this distance, probably. So let's reduce the subdivision. Let's play around with the shape some more. Base move. We can try twin hull structure. And the Z scale, make it flatter. Let's go to plating and probably reduce the thickness to 0.01 and give more detail. So the less the size, the more detail that you will have. So minimum is one face per face island and maximum is three. And this is I think exponential when you create more subdivision. It's not just like one or three anymore, but based off the lowest subdivision. So right now the smoothing is kind of making a mess of the geometry. Let's set this back to 4. So that is just the spacing between the final islands, and that is because we're using really small scale for the X. There we go. You can see it fixing itself. The Z axis. Okay, try and render this. And go to the subdivision level 3 and probably use edge cuts 1. So this is the one that's generating most of the detail. Or play around with the seed value. So let's probably use like 2 and then 5 to make it less no to make the details less noisy. Front and back include 3 faces. Expand edge cuts is 2 and expand to just one face or hull section. And let's see the result. Let's go to hull. Set this back to 1. Let's play around with, okay, this looks good. So this just makes it um, makes the random starship generation much faster because you can visualize what it will look like in render with the preset material. I will be adding more to this as of course, I will bake additional hull textures for this. This looks good. Wait, let's go back to subdivision level 1 and in the move, let's move it like that. I think we can bridge it. If we go to front back and then bridge tolerance X, bridge tolerance front scale, X depth and Z depth. Okay, nothing's happening. There we go. So we can connect them. Why is it moving towards the front? Okay, bridge tolerance 0.5. There we go. Going to connect it in the front and connect it at the back. Roll back to hull and separate it some more. There we go. So lets you create this list lets you create some really weird shapes. And let's try and reduce the hull section to 2. Let's set the origin mode to static so it doesn't move around so that much. Okay, this looks good. Oh, this looks good as well. And to think that this is purely like random. There's no preset here for these parts. These are all random shapes that come out looking like a spaceship. And it's really all because of the initial uh, sh- because of the script that deals with the base shape of the mesh. Let's try 3 or 12 hull sections. And for a smooth triangulation of 45 degrees. And we're going to go to plating and set the heating to random just to create more look variation in each of the plating islands. So I think we're yeah, I think this is good right here. So it's all about the silhouette. Uh, we're trying to do these things. Let's go back to the original uh, settings. The waist, waist it looks so pudgy. The bevel, there we go. And increase the resolution. So I think you can get a lot of variation with just manipulating the parameters. Random Starship. This is level 1, but we're using edge cut of 3, so that is of course going to add more to the processing. City scale interval, uniform scale is 1, scale interval of 1, level segments of 3, and level profile is point 2. Okay, and settings, oops, settings, not mirror the z-axis, and let's play around with the shapes. Okay, this looks good. So remember, it's all about the shape. So for the wings, if you want the wings to generally just uh, generate on the x-axis, then you can just reduce the tolerance values. If you increase this to like 1 or 2, then it has a tendency to, of course, the wings could generate on faces that leans towards more the y-axis or the z-axis. So that is the purpose of the tolerance parameters. Let's try clear just in faces to make to generate less noisy panel details. Okay, let's set this back to 1. And let's play around with the scale again. Kind of messed it up earlier. Okay, so a little thinner on the x-axis and uh, thicker on the z-axis. It's the bevel offset. I'm going to show you that in another video. Show you what the base mesh looks like without all these panel details. And you can also not use bump. So the bump is just to create like random bumps. So we can use 20, and for the bumps you can use the edge as a bump. The edge goes up, and if you use the face as a bump, the face goes up, and you can use both. Whereas it will randomize well, to use either face or an edge for the bump. So in this case, we're just going to use face. Let's try mirror Z. You can flip it to see what's on the other side. And I think the other side has a better shapes. So let's use that. Increase the subdivision to create more details. Okay. Okay, so there you go, your starship. And then you can just, if you like the preset that you did, you can then make your own. So when you use it again, this is basically the same setting as this one, so you can save it um, using this plus icon here. Click on the plus icon, then name your preset to my preset 01 or something. Okay. Let's just do a final one before we end this video. Random Starship, just press on any of this as an OK button. And let's play around with the big shape using a lower subdivision. Probably just like some around level 1. Let's go to front back and use only uh, two hull sections for the back, or one. Yeah, one hull section for the back and one hull section for the front. Let's see what we get. You can also flip the x-axis to see what's on the other side. Settings, flip the x, and this is what is in the other side. Okay, it's kind of looks good. Try and increase the subdivision to create. Oh, the hole disappeared. I like the hole. You get, I don't know how many variation this add-on can produce, but it's a lot. This is just a single preset. This looks good. So there's no um, script action to produce the thrusters, so you have to model that on your own manually. But what the script does is try to make the ends, or that part, the thruster part, to be as flat as possible, despite all the additions of the panel details. It tries to make, you can see here and here as well. It tries to make that part as flat as possible, so you spend less time fixing the or erasing the that part of the geometry to add your own raster details. Let's add more edge cuts. Let's reduce the subdivision, reduce the count, and get back to level 1. We're going to increase make it fatter on the Z axis and slimmer on the Z axis. Okay, and I will generate something like 3 hulls. I forgot about the front. You can of course affect the front scale in Z, in the X I mean, and in the Z axis. Is no, and also you can smooth it. Something like 1. Let's try that. Probably reduce the influence to 0 for the front. Okay, it's already 0. Here, there we go. And let's play around with the settings. Looks good. Increase the subdivision. Okay, so we have a bigger ship that is, of course, flatter on the z-axis and wider on the x-axis. Okay, and F9 settings. This is ship mat 01 with just the dirt. Oh, I have to edit this to edit the resulting reflection. roughness. And this is ship number 2, which is the hard texture. Ship matte zero three is the soft texture. I should probably make the hard texture zero three and the soft texture zero two in the release of the update, along with some of the other fixes that I told you. Okay, let's view this with the sky and go to film and turn off transparent and turn off depth of field and look for an HDRI that has a sky. There you go. This is our ship. Okay, so that is what is in store for the next update of the Random Starship panel. I hope this just it just keeps getting better after this. Okay, so if you have any questions, use the comment section below or the links in the description. Uh, Subscribe, like, comment, and share. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.